One of the aspects of Guns N' Roses music that fans love most is its sheer ferocity. Who can hear Welcome to the Jungle, You Could Be Mine, Garden of Eden, Mr. Brownstone, or a couple dozen other tunes without recognizing that snarl? Built around Slash's guitar and Duff McKagan's bass, provides the music that illuminates the danger expressed in singer Axl Rose's lyrics. But Rose's delivery makes you believe every word he sings. Rose's volatile personality feeds his songs and persona on stage and on record. It's when he's expressed that volatility in the real world that he has done real damage, the kind that causes real injury, ends real relationships, and summons real authorities to level legal consequences against him. And while he currently leads Guns N' Roses on a successful, years-long reunion tour, virtually without incident, the 30-year trail he left in his wake can still make one wonder why he did what he did. This is tragic real-life Axl Rose. Axl Rose and Slash publicly feuded for years. By 1997, according to Ultimate Classic Rock, infighting and creative tensions had caused every Appetite for Destruction member of Guns N' Roses to leave the band, including guitarist Slash. Axl Rose and his former bandmate engaged in a war of words and legal filings over the next 2 decades. The relationship began to deteriorate in earnest in 1991, when Slash left a Guns N' Roses tour to collaborate with Michael Jackson, whom Rose, a child abuse survivor, disliked and distrusted over similar allegations levied against the pop singer. In 2005, per Billboard, Slash sued Rose for allegedly freezing them out of their royalty revenue shares in the neighborhood of $500,000 a year. Months later, Rose countersued, and his management group called Slash an opportunist and manipulator. 3 years later, Rose called Slash a cancer to Spinner, and Slash told Rolling Stone in advance of GNR Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, which Rose ultimately refused to attend, that his former bandmate hates his guts. Axl Rose has been arrested several times for violent acts. Axl Rose has frequently found himself in trouble with the law, arrested several times for the results of violent, tempestuous outbursts directed at neighbors, security guards, and authority figures. During a 1987 concert in Atlanta, Rose struck an Atlanta police officer. The promoter worked out a deal that if Rose apologized to the cop, they wouldn't arrest the singer. After writing an apology, Rose leveled multiple profanities at the officer and was arrested. In 1990, per the Los Angeles Times, LA County Sheriff's officials arrested Rose on a charge of assault with a deadly weapon. During an argument with his condo complex neighbor, he grabbed a wine bottle, emptied it, and hit the woman on the head with it after she complained he was playing music too loudly. Before a flight out of Sky Harbor Airport in Phoenix in 1998, Rose reportedly became so enraged at an airport security guard searching his baggage that he threatened to beat up the man while shaking his fists. And in 2006, according to Today, Norwegian police jailed Rose after he was accused of drunkenly attacking and biting a hotel security guard. 2 fans died at a Guns N' Roses concert. In 1988, Guns N' Roses was probably the hottest and most popular band on the planet, having just released the mega-selling Appetite for Destruction, and was thusly a huge draw at that year's iteration of Monsters of Rock, an annual hard rock and heavy metal multi-act festival-style show held at Castle Donington in England. According to the documentary Guns N' Roses, organizers didn't set any rules for crowd capacity or control, which combined with heavy rainfall, made for a restless crowd of about 120,000 lurching forward toward the stage, placing dangerous pressure on those toward the front. That all resulted in the death of 2 fans who suffocated and were trampled to death. Neither Axl Rose nor any other member of Guns N' Roses was aware of the tragic events until hours after they played the show. I ran into our tour manager at the bar and he was crying. Guitarist Slash told Kerrang! That's when I found out that 2 kids had been trampled to death. He left riots in his wake. Rose's volatility might have been self-directed in some instances, but the decisions he made either as a result of his anger or disregard for others occasionally had massive consequences. According to Rolling Stone, Rose ended a 1991 St. Louis show early, after becoming irate with his security team for not properly dealing with a camera-wielding audience member. Following the tussle in the front row, Rose left the gig, and a riot started not long afterward, resulting in 60 injuries, 16 arrests, and $200,000 in damage to the facility. Similarly, at an August 1992 double bill with Metallica in Montreal, James Hetfield, Metallica's front man, was severely burned in a pyrotechnics accident, cutting their set short. Rose then ended Guns N' Roses' set early, complaining of a sore throat. That set off a riot, in which concert-goers, according to the New York Times, smashed stadium windows with an uprooted street lamp, looted a souvenir boutique, burned a sports car and Guns N' Roses t-shirts, and set dozens of small fires. As late as 2003, Rose would simply not show up at scheduled Guns N' Roses shows, causing riots in some venues, and leading some promoters to stop booking the band. His volatility could cause real destruction. When Rose vented his rage, anything in his path could be in jeopardy. When Rolling Stone visited him in 1989, his condo looked like the aftermath of a battle between Chuck Norris and Godzilla. One guitar has been destroyed. The magazine reported a mirrored wall shattered, several platinum albums broken beyond repair, and the telephone dropped off a 12th-story balcony. Apparently, Axl Rose had to get something out of his system. Rose wouldn't tell the reporter what had set him off, but he did explain his typical tantrum. "When I get stressed, I get violent and take it out on myself. I've pulled razor blades on myself, but then realized that having a scar is more detrimental than not having a stereo. I'd rather kick in my stereo than cut my arm." Axl is like a magnet for problems, told Rolling Stone years later, having endured multiple tours and recording sessions with the singer. "I've never met anybody like him. He's the kind of guy that would get a toothbrush stuck down his throat because that particular toothbrush happened to be defective." His romantic life was more Guns than Roses. Given Axl Rose's issues growing up, it's not difficult to predict he would have problems in his relationships with women as an adult. He told, "I've been hell on the women in my life, and the women in my life have been hell on me." This was particularly true of his brief marriage to Erin Everly, who Rose both fondly described as his best friend, and also said other times, "We just upped each other's lives completely up." A high-profile relationship with model and actress Stephanie Seymour was likewise fraught with trouble. He even mourned her death in the November Rain video, and those were the good times. As a celebrity, Rose was forced to work through his problems in public, which added unwanted complications. He channeled his frustrations into his songwriting, which could also be problematic, particularly when the lyrics were viewed as mean-spirited, or misogynistic, or even jokingly murderous. Rose tried to explain his rationale to Rolling Stone. "The anger and the emotions and stuff scare people. I don't think our music promotes that you should feel this way. We're saying you're allowed to feel certain ways." He claimed to be brainwashed by religion. Rose's stepfather strictly adhered to the tenets of his Pentecostal faith and insisted that his family do likewise, a situation that left Rose feeling brainwashed. Speaking with Rip, he said, "I'm not against churches or religion, but I do believe, like I said in Garden of Eden, that most organized religions make a mockery of humanity." He was particularly angered by the hypocrisy he saw as prevalent in Pentecostal churches, and how emotional harm was passed on through generations. He said, "These were people who were finding God but still living with their damage from their own childhoods and inflicting it upon their children." Compelled to attend church services anywhere from 3 to 8 times a week, Rose was also confused about the fluctuations in what the church considered to be evil. Confusion spawned within the walls of his church was exacerbated once he came home. "We'd have televisions one week, then my stepdad would throw them out because they were satanic." In all, his entire childhood religious experience wound up having the opposite effect on Rose than what his stepfather had intended. "The Bible was shoved down my throat and it really distorted my point of view. We were taught you must fear God. I don't think that's healthy at all." Therapy helped him work through his issues. Early in his career as the frontman of Guns N' Roses, Axl Rose sought treatment for the mental difficulties that had long troubled him. He said, "I went to a clinic, thinking it would help my moods. Doctors told Rose that he had bipolar disorder, which at the time was called manic depressive disorder. Although it didn't solve everything for the singer. The medication doesn't help me deal with stress, it keeps people off my back." Rose told Rolling Stone that he began controversial regression therapy in February 1991, hoping to identify the source of his volatile nature and deal with it proactively. "It's finding some way to break the chain," he explained. "I'm trying to fix myself and turn around and help others. You can't really save anyone, you can support them, but they have to save themselves." Much of this kind of therapy deals with recovering lost memories, which can sometimes be unreliable. Still, Rose claims the practice has helped him. "My life still has its extremes and ups and downs, but it is a lot better because of this work." The result of this effort was not forgiveness, nor was it to simply handle the problem and walk away. It was about grieving and assessing and coming to some understanding of the core reasons he sometimes behaved the way he did. He said, "My growth was stopped at 2 years old, and when they talk about Axl Rose being a screaming 2-year-old, they're right. There's a screaming 2-year-old who's real pissed off and hides and won't show himself that often even to me. Here's to the hope that he's found some peace."